Hello everyone, this is the fourth part of a chapter 2, that is bipolar junction transistor, and in this video we are going to learn the applications of transistor, that is transistor can be used as a amplifier or as a switch. Now the amplification is the process of adding strength or magnifying the input signal without changing its shape, and the amplifier is a device that amplifies or produces a large version of an input signal, or it increases the amplitude of or the strength of the input signal. It's called as the amplifier. And the process of raising the strength of a weak signal without any change in its general shape or its original shape is known as a faithful amplification. And the input signal to apply this amplifier is nothing but the alternating or AC signal to be amplified. And the input signal is a low level AC voltage obtained from a source such as a phonograph cartridge, then tape head, microphone, or from a transducer. And the DC voltage source which is applied for the biasing is never called as the input signal. Amplification in practical applications is done using multi-stage amplifiers. A number of single-stage amplifiers are used or cascaded to form this multi-stage amplifier. And now, when only one transistor is or with associated circuitry is used for amplifying a weak signal, this circuit is known as a single-stage amplifier. And in this video, we are going to study the single-stage amplifier. Now, our first application is transistor as an amplifier. To make transistor work as an amplifier, it is to be operate in the active region, that is base emitter junction is forward biased and the base collector junction must be reverse biased. So this is the circuitry for a single stage amplifier. So here we have connected this transistor in the CE configuration, and this R1 and R2 and this RE, this forms the potential divider bias. This circuitry is used for the biasing purpose. Now here the input signal, AC input signal, is applied at the input which is to be amplified. This biasing circuit is used to provide the voltage only for the biasing of transistor. This is not an input signal. The input AC signal is applied at the input, that is at the base, through this input capacitor C1. And at the output, here we get the enlarged version or the magnified input, magnified version of the input signal here. So let's see the various circuit elements that we have used in this circuit, and the functions of the that elements are: first is the biasing circuit. So the resistors R1, R2 and RE form the voltage divider biasing circuit and stabilization circuit for this C amplifier, which helps in stabilizing the a proper operating point or a Q point. Now the input capacitor, that is C1. This capacitor couples the input signal to the base of the transistor, and the input capacitor Cin or C1 allows AC signal, but it isolates the signal source from the R2. That means it allows the AC signal to pass through it, but it blocks the DC components. So if this capacitor is not present, the input signal gets directly applied, which changes the bias at the R2, and that's why the input capacitor is very important while application of the input signal. The next capacitor is a CE capacitor, that is a emitter bypass capacitor. This capacitor is employed in a parallel to the emitter resistor RE. The amplified AC signal is bypassed through this capacitor. If this is not present, that signal will pass through RE, which produces a voltage drop across RE, and that will feed back the input signal, reducing the output voltage. And to maintain the gain of this output signal, or to get the faithful amplification, this bypass capacitor is very important. Now the fourth element is this coupling capacitor, second coupling capacitor, that is a C2, or we can also call this as a output capacitor. This capacitor is present at the end of the stage, and it connects it to the other stage. That means this is the output of a first stage, and this is connected to the input of the next similar stage of the amplifier. So as it couples two stages, it is called as a coupling capacitor. Again, this capacitor blocks the DC of one stage to enter the other but allows AC to pass. Hence, it is also called as a blocking capacitor. So, due to the presence of this coupling capacitor C2, the output across the resistor RL is free from the collector's DC voltage. If this is not present, the bias condition of the next stage will be drastically changed due to this shunting effect of this RC. Shunting means as it would become in a parallel to R2 of the next stage. That means whatever the DC components they are present from this capacitor or from this output side, that will be blocked by this coupling capacitor or by this C2 capacitor, and at the output we get pure AC signal. So this is also very important at the output stage. So here again we can notice one thing, that output of this transistor or this amplifier is a opposite phase, that is 180 degree out of phase as compared to the input. So here input with a 0 degree phase shift, and here the output, that is amplified version of input, but it is a 180 degree out of phase as compared to the input. Why this happens? Because the output voltage VO, that is nothing but the VCE, is equal to VCC minus ICRC. ICRC is nothing but the voltage drop across this resistor RC, and this is depend on the input current IB. So an increase in the input voltage causes the base current to increase. So here, as this input amplitude of this input voltage increases, IB increases. So this causes the increase in a collector current, that is IC. As the IC increases, the voltage drop across this resistor also increases. So here the value of this ICRC will increase, and this reduces the value of output voltage, that is VC, and that's why as the input increases, output decreases. And when the input current IB decreases, it will decrease the IB, and further it will decrease IC. So voltage drop across this ICRC decreases. As the ICRC voltage drop across this is decreases, so value of this VCE, the output voltage, will increase, and that's why when the input is decreasing, output will increase. So in this way we get the 180 degree out of phase output at the C amplifier. So therefore there is a 180 degree change of phase between the input and output amplifier. So the basic function of an amplifier is to raise the strength of an AC input signal, and this is done using the gain, or we can say that the rise in the strength of a signal is called as a gain. So actually this is the amplification factor. Gain is the amplification factor which is responsible to increase the strength of the signal. So the gain of the amplifier is the ratio of output quantity to the input quantity. We can define generally the gain is the ratio of output quantity to the input quantity, and there are the voltage gain, current gain, and power gain, and this gain is a unitless quantity. So here first voltage gain, we can define the voltage gain as the ratio of AC output voltage to the AC input voltage, and we can denote this voltage gain as a AV, and we are represented as a V out upon V, and the gain, they are always represented in the decibel. So here the voltage gain that can be represented in a decibel as a 20 log to the base 10 V out upon V in. Second is the current gain. Again it is the ratio of a AC output current to the AC input current, and it is denoted by AI. It is I out upon IE. Again it is represented in a decibel as a 20 log to the base 10 I out upon IE. And third one is the power gain, and it is again the ratio of AC output power to the AC input power, and it is represented as a AP. So it should be AP. So we know that power is the product of a voltage and current. So P out can be defined as a V out into V out, and P in is defined as a input voltage into input current, and we can define or represent the power gain in a decibel as a 10 log to the base 10 P out upon P in. Again, the very important concept related to this amplifier is the bandwidth, and this figure shows the frequency response of the amplifier. So here this is a graph of a input signal frequency versus the gain or output voltage. We can say this can be represented as a frequency versus output voltage, or it can be represented as a frequency versus gain. So the gain of an ideal amplifier should remain the same for any frequency of the input. That means the amplifier must be capable to amplify the frequencies from 0 to infinity equally. That means all the frequencies, they can be amplified equally. So therefore the frequency response curve, that is gain in a dB plotted against frequency, becomes a straight line parallel to the frequency. So this dotted line, this represents the ideal frequency response. So this will be parallel with this frequency axis. But in actual practice, this is not happen. The coupling capacitors and the emitter bypass capacitor reduces the gain at a lower frequencies. That means here, so because of the input coupling capacitor and the emitter bypass capacitor, the gain at these lower frequencies, they are decreasing, lower, the gain is lower. Then the capacitance internal to the transistor and the stay capacitance due to the wiring reduces the gain at a higher frequencies. So that's why at a lower and at a higher frequencies, the gain is lower. And between this middle region, the gain is higher or constant. We can say that the gain is a constant. So we have to find the particular region of a frequency at which the gain is approximately equal or constant, and that can be found using the maximum gain multiplied by the value 0.707, and at these points we can find the region or the range of frequencies at which gain is the approximately constant, and that is in the that region is between the frequencies f1 and f2. So the range of frequencies over which the gain is equal to 70.7 of the maximum gain is known as a bandwidth, and the between f1 and f2 the gain is 70.7. that means this portion. So between these two frequencies, or this frequency range at which the gain is almost approximately constant. So hence f1 and f2, or we can say that f2 minus f1 is nothing but the bandwidth or the suitable operant frequency range for the amplifier. So here f1 is called as the lower cutoff frequency and f2 is called as the upper cutoff frequencies. Actually these two frequencies will separate this usable mid frequency region from this two unusable frequency regions. Now the second application of a transistor, that is as a switch. So in many operations it is necessary to make or break an electric circuit. It is desirable that this operation should be fast and without sparking. The mechanical switches can be used to do this job, but it has some limitations, and when transistors like components are used as a switch, they are known as electronic switches. A circuit which can turn on and off current in an electrical circuit is known as a switching circuit, and due to the high speed operation and absence of sparking, it made very popular of electronic switches. So here this is the output characteristics of the C amplifier, and here are the two regions, that is saturation and cutoff region, and in these two regions we can use the transistor, or we can operate the transistor to operate as a switch. So the areas of operation for a transistor switch are known as the saturation region and the cutoff region, and this means that we can ignore the operating cue point biasing and voltage divider circuit required for the amplification, and use the transistor as a switch by driving it back and forth between its fully off, that is cutoff region, and fully on, that means in the saturation regions. That means we have to ignore this active region. So the condition is to operate the transistor as a switch, we have to operate it into the saturation region, that means both junction must be forward biased, and we have to operate this transistor into the cutoff region, that means both junctions must be reverse biased. For saturation, both junctions must be forward biased, and for cutoff, both junctions must be reverse biased. So here the cutoff region. So here the operating conditions of the transistor are 0 input base current, IB is 0 in this region, then output collector current, that is IC, is 0, and the maximum collector voltage VCE, which results in a large depletion layer flow through the device, and therefore the transistor in this region is switched off, or we can say that it is a fully off. Here is the circuit that represents the transistor as a open switch. So when we connect the input of this transistor to the ground, that means we are applying 0 to the input or the base of this transistor, so this will turn off the transistor. So this will act as a open switch. So whatever voltage or the applied at the input, that is VCC, that will be appear across this resistor RL, and here we get the Vout equal to VCC. So here the input and base current, they are grounded, that means they are 0. Then base emitter junction, because of this input is 0, so the base emitter junction voltage, that is VBE, is 0.7 volt, 7 volt only, and this junction is a reverse biased. And already this junction, collector emitter junction, is reverse biased, so the transistor is fully off, that means it is operated in the cutoff region, and here no collector current flows, that is IC is 0. So the output voltage Vout, that is equal to VCE, that must be equal to VCC, because the current will be the current is not flowing through this circuit, and that's why whatever voltage appear at over here, that will be appear as a output. So we can say that the output is logically high, or a 1. So the transistor operates as an open switch. Now saturation region. Here the transistor will be biased so that the maximum amount of base current is applied, resulting in maximum collector current, resulting in the minimum collector emitter voltage drop, which results in the depletion layer being as small as possible and maximum current flowing through the transistor, and therefore the transistor is switched on or fully on. So here is the circuit where the input equal to the VCC is applied at the base of the transistor. So this will forward bias the base emitter junction, and this will allow the current flow through this transistor. That means it is used as a operated as a closed switch, and the large current flows through the transistor, and because of this the very small voltage will be dropped across this RL, and that's why the output is approximately equal to 0. So here the input and the base current, they are equal to VCC. So the base emitter voltage, it is greater than 0.7 volt. So this will forward bias the base emitter junction. Base collector junction is also forward biased, and that's why this transistor is fully on, that is operated in the saturation region, and the maximum collector current that flows through the transistor, that is VCC upon RL, and that's why the VCE is equal to 0. So we can say that the transistor operates as a closed switch. So here the transistor advantage of this electronic switch is, so no moving parts are involved and hence little wear and tear, therefore it gives noiseless operation. It has a smaller size and weight, trouble-free service because of a solid state. It is cheaper than other switches and requires little maintenance. It has a very fast speed of operation, up to 10⁹ operations per second. And here are the questions based on this topic I have given. Try to solve the questions. If you have any query, you can contact me. Thank you.